You've just accessed Hardware is Forever, your source for the expert insights, ideas, and innovations you need to do more in the electronics manufacturing industry. From optimization to operations, join us as we put the pieces together for a better approach to manufacturing. Let's go.
Welcome back to Hardware is Forever. I'm Chris Bintliff. Jay Patel is the CEO at Amtech. And Jay, we're continuing our conversation, our series on high mix, low volume manufacturing. Before this, we were doing lean manufacturing. Before that, we were doing Deming. Everything, from my perspective, builds on to the next thing. And I love how I'm always seeing these threads and through points in the conversation we'll have today to something that we talked about 6 months ago. And I think that's interesting. So today we're going to combine a couple of those things and talk about lean manufacturing in HMLV, which means we need to take some of the core tendencies of lean, which already nicely embed, but we need to thoughtfully embed that into HMLV. And I think that could get interesting. So I guess talk us through that. What is that relationship like? How should we be thinking about lean plus HMLV?
I think lean is just a prerequisite. I mean, I was even having a conversation with somebody the other day is, if we even just generically speaking, if we want to reduce our carbon footprint and reduce waste and all that kind of stuff, just be lean in everything you do. And I gave an example of Google Maps, right? Like people used to get lost a lot without Google Maps. They would end up being in the wrong location or getting lost or going off the highway and getting back on and just all these type of things. People just didn't know where to go very easily. And it was, people would get lost. And more than that, Google Maps and all that kind of stuff, they optimize the routes. So you're spending less time in your vehicles and ultimately you're burning less gas. And that has a toll on, and it adds up to your carbon footprint, waste, economics, all that kind of stuff. It adds. And I think that's where lean comes into play is you're just not wasting resources that have been provided to you. So the eight wastes are defects, overproduction, waiting, unused talent, transportation, inventory, motion, and extra processing. People call it different names to different things, but essentially, those are the 8 things that are wasted on a daily basis. Now, when you are in a high volume type of environment, you have so much volume and so much money coming through that some of these things are hidden. Who cares if there's a pile of scrap at this particular station? We're still chunking along. We're just cruising along. We're selling product. We're making a lot of money. Bonuses are good. Nobody cares. And that's okay because you have the dollar volume, high volume to kind of hide the wastes. But when you're a high mix, low volume, waste will kill you. It bubbles up very, very quickly. And it affects the bottom line very, very quickly. Like you have one shot to make money for this job. And if you make money, good. If not, then you just lost money. Like you have no way to recoup that. You have no second chance. It is a execute now and execute the right way, or you're going to lose money. And I think that's where lean is really, really required in a high mix, low volume type of environment, and again, it starts with leadership about how you approach implementing lean. Is it more of I'm going to start with my shipping department and work my way up all the way up to the sales department, or I'm going to go sales and go to shipping, or am I going to go, start a fork at sales, start a fork at shipping, and then come together? It all depends on how the organization wants to implement it. Some organizations do a round robin. They have their core processes, and every month or every quarter, they'll go through and do an analysis and make sure that there's no waste and identify the 8 wastes and find out ways to reduce it. So
you got to prioritize, you got to discover. And so to do that, lean gives us a couple of platforms, a couple of tools, a couple of ways of thinking, some best practices. I'm thinking about value stream mapping, which we've talked about. And for me, that connects, by the way, even to your analogy about Google Maps. Like before that, remember when TomTom and stuff came out? And that was really exciting, but you had to set it on your dash and you had to tap in the little address and stuff. So that was a waste even though it created a new time savings, these things aggregate, I guess is my point. So what are some ways that we can take some of those toolkits that we have in Lean and integrate them into this process?
Yeah, and I got to step back a little bit for this. And I think when I had an auditor come in or a supplier come in, I don't know, but they had a lot of experience in quality and Lean and Six Sigma.
Mm-hmm.
And we are having a conversation. They said, before you do Lean, before you do value stream mapping, before you do Six Sigma, before you do, whatever, SPC and data analysis and whatever Pareto principle you want to use, and whatever practice it is that you have, you need to implement 5S first. 5S is you got to organize your workplace first. You need to know where everything is, and you need to know it has a place, and you need to take it from there and put it back from there. That's your first step, is organize your reality. If your reality is not organized, then you're going to waste motion trying to find the screwdriver. You're going to waste inventory because you're going to double buy parts. Like you already had the parts, but you couldn't find them. So now you got to buy them again. And that leads to extra processing, unused talent because we're just spinning our wheels. We're waiting on things. So the first thing is always organization. Organize your reality so you can find the things when you need them, where in the spot that they're supposed to be. So that's the first thing about, implementing Lean, is implement 5S first. And then I would start doing value stream mapping of our core business processes. So value stream mapping is you focus on things that add value to the customer. And then you identify those things, and then you look at all the whole steps, and then you map which steps add value, which steps do not. Can we somehow expedite or eliminate the stages or streamline the stages that don't add value, that create waiting or transportation or inventory or emotion or extra processing, which can lead to unused talent. So I think really focusing on those, doing the value stream mapping of the business processes is the second step. And then the third step is doing value stream mapping of your actual, in our instance, manufacturing processes. In other people's instances, it's the algorithm. Like you said, the TomTom, routing algorithm is different than the Google Maps routing algorithm. Maps is it has evolved and now also integrates, real-time traffic information and user feedback information. So it tells us where there's accidents are, and it automatically starts rerouting us for the most optimized route. So I think those are the steps so that we really focus on. Every organization is in a different place in their journey right now. To be honest, Amtech is in a place where we are starting to implement a lot of these things, and they are starting to pay off for us. 5S organization is paying off for us. Next step is we're going to be redoing all of our entire core processes, and then after that, focus on manufacturing processes. And whatever little we've done here, it is not as comprehensive as the Toyota way or anything like that. But whatever we've done here, it's phenomenal. I mean, it's already added value, and it's made us a better organization.
You mentioned Toyota. 5S, if you don't know, is a Toyota maxim, and it stands for sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. And you mentioned, and we should come back to that, Jay, and do a whole episode on that. But you mentioned how it's starting to pay off at Amtech. I don't know. Tell us a little bit about that, or where else in your space are you starting to see the effort is worth it because we're starting to see this is happening overall, or for organizations who are adopting this, the hurdles or the obstacles that maybe we faced first are starting to give way to smoother ground. What's that been like?
Yeah. So I think one of the things that we do that is really unique is even though we're considered a high mix or a job shop type of environment, we actually run everything in line. So that means we need to be organized, and we need to be agile, and then we need to have proper planning and understand the process. So basically what we're doing now is when we launch a program and to do production on the shop floor, we actually create their own assembly line. So then when the production starts and the assembly starts, there's a dedicated assembly line. So it doesn't go from work center to work center. The work centers actually get lined up in the assembly line. So then we have a single piece flow that reduces all that motion, all that waiting, that unused talent, the overproduction, all that type of stuff is taken care of because we do a single piece flow, and we set our line up as we would set up our different pick and place equipment to be able to handle that particular program and assembly in a single line flow, which requires 5S, requires organization, and then also requires value stream map, and also requires a lot of planning, which comes back to our core processes. So that has been phenomenal, and we run jobs like that, and employees, when they have to work in a departmental type of environment or work center type of environment versus inline environment, the guys out in the shop, everybody in the shop loves it because we're all working together. We're creating velocity, we're creating momentum, we're creating synergy, and it always feels good when you know you can complete the job and visually see the job is complete. So when the people out in the shop floor work on a particular program and they start they start and end in the same day or the next few days, they see the product being packed and shipped out, that gives, everybody has a feeling of job satisfaction. Like, I did my job and look, we got stuff shipping out the door. That's awesome. Yes. So there's that level of energy created. Yeah. There's that level of energy created. And to be honest with you, I don't know any other company that actually sets up unique assembly lines like we do in a job shop. So we have our infrastructure that we put in place to be able to do that, and that really, differentiates us. And it's a lot of fun doing it.
I love it. I think that's fascinating. And as I sort of interrupted you, especially if you compare it to before, where people are like, this used to take us 3 days or something, and now look at this, and you can feel, as you said, that momentum or that velocity kind of building. What's as we're closing out, what's a great piece of advice you can give us, or how do I take the first steps? What are the little things I need to get right so that I can get to be, I guess, experiencing some of these advantages that you are?
Yeah, I don't think it's like anything magical. I think it's just taking the first step. The first step is, let's organize the shop, or let's organize. And the second step, once things are organized, you can see, okay, where everything is, and then you can start optimizing your processes, creating those value stream maps, removing that. And these value stream maps and all this kind of stuff, it helps out when you have to put it on paper and do an analysis, but a lot of it's just common sense. Like, go out there. Where's the bottleneck? Where are we wasting time? Where's somebody tired? Where's a lot of the defect coming from? Like, go out there and just use your common sense and say, hey, yeah, can we do this? Can we change this? Can we use this tool? Like, why are you using a manual screwdriver? Like, use a screw gun, man. Like, let's use it. Things like that it's not hard. It's just intentional. And you just got to take the first step. And once you take the first step, be ready to have everything change. But just take the first step.
It might be one of those things where once you start to see it, you can't unsee it. So once you pick up the gun instead of the screwdriver, you're like, well, wait, what if I also did this instead of that? And pretty soon your whole life is about optimization.
Yeah.
Jay Patel is the CEO at Amtech. This is fascinating stuff, Jay. Thanks for sharing it with us. I'm looking forward to the continued conversation.
Thanks for joining us. And a special thanks to our subscribers and followers. Consider becoming one today wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube. Hardware is Forever is designed, tested, engineered, and built by the manufacturing experts at Amtech. Learn more and let us help you envision your next project with a free Design for Manufacturing assessment at buildamtech.com/DFM.